Donald Trump has agreed to participate in a debate hosted by Joe Rogan. What the hell's going on? No, let me give you the beginning of this story. As many people don't even realize, there was this idea that was floated by Joe Rogan here. But as the New York Post writes, Joe Rogan said that to avoid the bias in the media, he'd be happy to moderate a debate between Biden and Trump. Quote, "First of all, I want no one else in the room, just the three of us. And you'd have to stream it live so no one can edit it. And I would want them in there for hours," Rogan said. If they wanted to do that, they both wanted to come here in Austin, sit down and have a debate, I would 100% do it, he continued. But I don't think Biden can handle it. I think Biden is like, people get mad at me for saying this. I think there's something wrong, and I don't think there's something wrong because I'm guessing or because I'm pro-Trump. I've seen him fall apart, Rogan said. Now, before I can go on to address the debate aspect of this story, how do you make this criticism? And look, I watch Rogan's show. I like his podcast. Depends on the guests, obviously. Some guests are completely insane. But how can you make this criticism of Biden, which is true? Yes. Over the past several years, Biden is not what he used to be. Obviously, you can compare speeches from this year to even 2016, 2015. He's not really the same guy. But how do you make this criticism and not also make that same criticism of Donald Trump? At the very least, you have to acknowledge Biden is more knowledgeable. He's been there. He was vice president. Donald Trump is golfing half the time. How much does Donald Trump actually do? Honestly, how much do you think Donald Trump actually does? It's his team. And that's really the case with most of these presidents. It's their team. Yes, they pick the personnel, but it's their team. And when it comes to Trump, I don't see how he is any more in control than Joe Biden is. But putting the obvious aside, and also, while I'm on that point, let's take a look at the state of the virus in the U.S. compared to other countries. Daily new confirmed COVID-19 cases per million people. This is the U.S. This is Donald Trump. This is his brain. Meanwhile, you have a conservative government here in the UK. Yes, a second wave like many countries are experiencing, but nowhere near these US numbers. Canada, neoliberal. Cuba, communist. Australia, I believe they're conservative, but essentially neoliberals. So again, other neoliberal style governments, the way that you would see in a Joe Biden presidency, their numbers are way down compared to Trump. So this is what you get with a neo-fascist. How can you not be worried about this, but you're worried about Joe Biden being a little slower than he was in 2016? Anyways, getting back to the story here. So Tim Kennedy tweeted out, "On my podcast with Joe Rogan, he offered to moderate a debate between Joe Biden and real Donald Trump. It would be 4 hours with no live audience, just the two candidates, cameras, and their vision of how to move this country forward. Who wants this?" So first off, look, I got to say, I would love this. Absolutely. Especially now, no live audience, I think, is sort of a built-in assumption at this point with COVID going around. But this is how debates should be done and how debates are often done in other countries. In Canada, most of our debates don't have live audiences. And that's really to save time and focus on the issues. So live audiences, there's applause that impacts how people at home watching view the responses from the candidates. It's just, there's no need at all for having a live audience in a debate. You need a moderator, somebody fact-checking, and you need questions and answers. So I would love a 4-hour debate between Joe Biden and Donald Trump on Joe Rogan's show. And for the most part, I think Rogan would be fair. You see comments like this, and it seems like he's in the tank for Trump. But if you hear him normally, like Rogan talks about how he thinks everyone should have health care. He's very he's aware of the serious issues with wealth inequality in the U.S. and certain people having all this money and everyone else, getting evicted. So Rogan is aware of those issues. I think he would touch on a lot of that stuff. And ultimately, 4 hours, that's a lot. um, I think Rogan would need somebody in there with him just to stay on track. Because you're going to get into a point. I mean, you have to assume there would be fights breaking out, Trump yelling at Biden or Biden yelling at Trump, like something going on there, or Trump just talking forever and going on and on and on. How can Rogan both keep track of the time and the responses from each of these candidates while also being engaged in the discussion? Like, you can't have in a debate style format. It's not a podcast. It's a debate. So there has to be some fairness applied to how much time each candidate is allotted when giving their answers. Yes, it could and should still be a conversational style format, but what that makes sense if you have two people that are really engrossed, in the issues, know what they're talking about. Donald Trump, it's just pure rhetoric. And Joe Biden, he, for the most part, it's a lot of rhetoric as well, but he at least has a platform that is offering something. Higher wages, $15 an hour, public option, free public college for anyone making under, I think, 125 grand a year. So, there are things there to work with. Trump is going to go straight to xenophobia, straight to fear mongering over the protests, like all that shit. So you need somebody else in the room there, I think, working with Joe Rogan. But quickly, as I said at the beginning, Trump responded saying, I do. So Trump's saying he'd be down for this, though really, I think Trump is saying this knowing that the Biden campaign would never agree to this, and not simply because Biden is not as quick as he used to be, but because there has already been a lot of controversy when Rogan backed Bernie Sanders in the primary. People from the moderate Biden side of the party tried to attack Bernie Sanders over that endorsement. So there's no way in hell that Biden is agreeing to do this debate. But we can dream.